Hey friends, welcome to another episode of To My Friends. Alrighty, how did everyone's 4th of July go? Let me know in the comments. Got the cops called on us. So that's how ours went. We almost got them called on us again. But we'll get into that later. I want to take you through chronologically because I like to do it that way throughout the week. Then I don't have to worry about what order to go in for the topics that I want to cover. So I'll take you through the week, through the last week. It was a pretty normal one, honestly. If I'm gonna be real, we don't have much really to cover. So it might be a shorter episode today. But hey, that means more you time. More time to do you. More time to do yourself. More time to just go to town on yourself. So yeah. Monday I had improv rehearsal. I'm grateful enough to have been included on an improv team that's going to be performing a couple shows, and they're going to be paid shows. I'm going to get paid. What, dude? I'm going to get paid to do something I love? Wow. That's so cool. I love that. I would do it for free, but I need to pay the bills, so it's really nice that I'm getting money. Gonna get money for it, hopefully. There's always a worry in the back of my mind that I'll say some stupid shit in improv that'll just get me canceled. And I'm not even famous. I'll just say some dumb shit, but there's our instructors are really good, and they're like, as long as you're doing it with the intent that you're trying to be funny, which is what improv is, then it's okay. Of course, it's going to make some people feel uncomfortable, and we'll talk about it at that point if we get to that. But if it gets to that point, but it's supposed to be a loosey-goosey fun time, and I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited. I have my downstairs neighbors in the group too, and I realized that after they sent out the email of when we got on the team, when we got selected for the team to do that. And actually one of my other friends that I made friends with during another improv show texted me that we're on a list together and that she found out through the email. And I was like, how did you find out? And she's like, oh, through the email with everyone's name on it. And I felt really dumb, but that's how I found out that my downstairs neighbor was on it, and we've never even talked really before, except on the day that I moved in. And I was having a day when I was moving in because it was just a lot. And I was going through a lot at the time too, switching apartments, having just being broken up with. Ben broked up with from my last ex. And so I was just going through it and having a day, and I was also with my grandpa. And if you can remember last episode, how communication is between me and my grandpa, it's whatever, we're on good terms, but it's just, it can be just cumbersome at some points, so he wanted me to get her number so that we could communicate as neighbors. And she came out and said hi and stuff, and she was cool and nice, and he's like, yeah, why don't you guys get each other's numbers sometime or whatever. He didn't like force it to be right then and there, but it would have been ideal to exchange numbers right there. And it seemed like she was like down for it. She was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. And I just stood there like, and I don't remember what happened after that, but I didn't get her number. I just remember being really silent because I was just, there's so much in my mind and nothing at the same time. You know what I mean? So a year later, we're in the same improv class together. So that's going to be fun. And she's funny. So it really is going to be fun. So, that was Monday. And since we're on the topic of improv, I wanted to just say, like, people always wonder, like, if I think, because I do stand up too, if they think stand up is harder than improv. And it really is just a different flavor of nervousness, because stand up, you at least know what you're going to say, kind of. There is definitely some improvisation in that, but not as much. Like, you kind of know what you're going to say, and you know the risks that, you know the larger risks that you're going to be taking. And but then there's the anxiety, like if the crowd doesn't laugh where you expect them to laugh, then that is going to feel weird. But then there's the other thing of like improv, you don't have to prepare anything. You don't have to practice anything other than like your improv brain. You don't have to rehearse anything other than like your improv brain. So like there's no words really. It's just always going to be improvised. And so that's freeing. But then also you could say some really out of pocket shit and it could just not land at all. And you could sound like an idiot. And then you could also sound like you actually maybe believe in the things that you're saying, but you of course don't, because it's just comedy. But then you might think that people think that there's a little bit of that hidden in your subconscious that you might believe it, and maybe, but maybe not. So like, I don't know. It's definitely exhilarating. Both of them are really exhilarating, and I love to do both of them. I want to get back into doing stand-up more. It's and I don't know really what's stopping me. Mainly my schedule and work schedule and energy schedule is what's stopping me. But I think I'll be able to work it in somewhat soon here, especially as when school gets started back up and I get on a more rigid schedule. So yeah, let's see here. I've only done 2 stand-up shows, by the way. And I slayed both times. But it was like, it was like the class kind of showcase. So people came ready to laugh. It was a lot of friends and family of the performers and stuff. So they were like a very, very great crowd, dude. They were amazing. They laughed at all the times that they were supposed to laugh, and they were quiet when they were supposed to be quiet, and listening to like the story or whatever. They were attentive, and it was awesome. And one of them even helped me out when I forgot a thing that I had said earlier. So that was awesome. Those were great crowds. And I performed the improv things twice too for both of the classes, and that was fun. I definitely felt dumber in those ones though, but apparently people liked it. So that's all that matters. We're here to make people laugh. That was the mindset. So Tuesday, I don't have anything written down, probably because I worked all day. Wednesday, it was leg day, and I wanted to make the ingredients I wanted to find ingredients that are in Magic Mind because it's so fucking ridiculously expensive. But when I've tried it before, when it's been on 50% off discount or more, it's really helped my brain. And this is not an ad. I'm not getting paid by them for this. If I was, I'd probably buy more of their product because I'd have the money to do so. Honestly, Magic Mind, if you want to send me Magic Mind and be a sponsor of this, then I would advocate for it because it's nice. But until then, I am not going to be advertising it. This is the only time I'm mentioning it because it's necessary to describe this story. So I wanted to get the ingredients for that. So I asked ChatGPT, where can I get ingredients for Magic Mind? And it said GNC. And so I go to GNC in the mall. And let me just paint the scene for you, okay? I'm coming up on some edibles at the time, and I'm having a good time. I'm ready to rip roar and get into action here. And I go in through the Hobby Lobby entrance to the mall because that's closest to where GNC is. I walk into Hobby Lobby. I've never been into Hobby Lobby before, and if you don't know what Hobby Lobby is, it's basically a casino where there's no gambling happening, but all of the places where there'd be gambling machines, there is things that your 50-year-old mom would go buy and just to put up in her house for decorations. Decor is basically the modus operandi of Hobby Lobby. So I walk in and there's aisles like going this way, and this way. So either this way or this way. I didn't mean to make that sound too complicated, but it is complicated. And there's aisles that are like half aisles next to each other going both directions. So like you don't know when an aisle starts and when another aisle ends. You're in a maze. So I'm thinking when I go into the store, okay, let me just go make a beeline straight to the back. And if it's not there, it should probably be to the right. And it was to the right. So I made it through. I just walked straight and then to the right. Dude, with my impulsivity and ADHD-esque brain, I'm not saying I have it, but it's definitely ADHD-esque. I've never been diagnosed. I don't have the money to do that, okay? But I'm going to have an appointment actually in August to see what's up with my brain in that department. But it's not from my money because I don't have health insurance. So because it's too expensive, and also it's either too expensive or every time I look for health insurance, I get spammed with 50 phone calls a day from other numbers that I didn't even share my number. Somehow there's just numbers all of a sudden trying to contact my phone. So I don't even like to look for health insurance. So, anyways. That gets me a little bit heated, so we're gonna go to the right, and we're gonna go into the mall, and we're gonna go into GNC now in this story. And so I go into GNC, and there's this guy. Oh yeah, if I had my ADHD-esque brain and I was a woman, I was gonna say this. I totally forgot ADHD. If I was a woman and I liked things. Like that. I'm stealing that bit from one of the comedians I listen to because it sounds like it makes a lot of sense. If you're a woman, you like things. Like honestly, I like things. I like things that if I had the money and I didn't, if I was solid, I would decorate more. I would create vibes, dude. I would create cool vibes, and I'm all about that, dude. I'm not dissing women for liking things, dude. Everyone likes things. It's just whether or not you admit it. And they more so openly admit it because it's probably more societally accepted for women to like things and guys are into women and women are into things. That's the societal thing that's been ingrained to our brains from jump. So anyways, I would have gotten super distracted in that store and just been like, oh, what's that? And then I would have been super lost. And that's how they get you, dude. It's like a casino. That's what I'm saying. They would get you like that. So, and then you're just in there spending all of your money until you get a house full of decor. So I'm in GNC, and the guy there who's working there has one of those floofy haircuts, and like like um um the curly perm kind of a thing, but like it's his hair, so I don't know if he got a perm or if it's just like what it is. My little cousin has a perm. He looks pretty rad with it, and but then there's those guys who have that hair, and it's just like some of them. My little cousin isn't like this, but some of them who are like that, it just adds to the bit of like, oh, this guy's gonna think he's the shit. He's definitely gotten 3 chicks in his bed in the last 2 days. And I'm not talking about baby chicks from chickens. And so like I'm there and I'm talking with him. I'm asking him like, hey, do you have any of these ingredients or whatever in powder form, something that I could mix in a drink? Or have you heard, I think I've started with, have you ever heard of this drink or whatever that ChatGPT recommended? And he's like, nah, never heard of it. And his face is just like, maybe he wasn't aware. He's probably just, maybe he was making that face because of he hated his job, like whatever he was doing. He was kind of in the middle of something. And but he kind of looked like he hated his life at the moment, and I was in edible happy mode. So I was like, very contrasting energies were happening. And I was like, oh well, have you ever heard of Magic Mind? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, okay, well, do you have any L-theanine like powder or anything? He's like, no, just pills. And I was like, okay, all right, well, never mind then. And I go to leave, and he's like, you can try Sups, this place called Sups or whatever. Looked it up on Google Map or Apple Maps, and it doesn't exist. So at least he tried there. But he could have tried with his face a little bit more. That's all I'm really saying. That's all I really wanted to get out about that story. So I go walk back through Hobby Lobby, through the maze, and get back to my car. And I go work out, man. I go do leg day, and my quads were burning so bad that I thought I was taking a hot, steamy diarrhea when I was doing like the quad machine. I literally my quads haven't burned that bad since the last time I was taking a hot, steamy diarrhea shit. But man, did they burn, dude. Man, did they burn. And they're not even that sore. But that was like 5 days ago. But I mean, I'd be sore for a week if I did that like from jump. But I've been in the flow of getting shredded and feeding my body. Right. So I'm not getting as sore anymore. Did a posture workout today. God, I feel good. God, I feel fucking good. You ever just feel that good? I can't wait to watch that back and see how red I got. So I did that, and then I had a meeting with my professor talking about a paper that I'm supposed to be writing over the summer, and emphasis on supposed to be writing. And it's about it's going to be about something that I want to be writing. It's just summer, and like it was my birthday a couple weekends ago, and then also just family stuff, and just didn't get around to it. And doing this podcast, which I could be writing the paper instead of doing the podcast and editing it, but it's kind of related to the paper, so I'm considering it working toward the paper. So anyways, I was chatting with her after the main bulk of what we were there meeting for, and she was talking about like what she was going to be making for her family for desserts and stuff. And I was so excited about sharing with her this sandwich that I made, it's like as though I had put more work. When I was saying it to her, because I was still like on my edible coming up on that, when I was saying it to her, I felt so silly. Like I was more passionate about this sandwich that I made than I was about the paper that I'm writing and that she's helping me write. Helping me figure out how to write, I should say. But anyways, the sandwich, if you're wondering, which I highly recommend you should make, is a half toasted peanut butter banana maple sandwich. And it's really great for breakfast or a post dinner snack or whatever. But it's plain, what is it? It's plant-based grain bread or whatever. And one slice is toasted, one slice is flaccid. And I say it like that because it flops, right? I'm not trying to be sexual. It's just what it is. It's one's toasted and erect, and the other one is flaccid and soft. And what that does, practically speaking, functionally speaking, is the toasted part melts the peanut butter that you're going to put on it, and the other one doesn't melt the peanut butter. So it's not too melty, but it is a little bit melty, and it's a little bit warm, and it's not all crunchy, and it's a little bit soft. It's a great combination of textures happening. So you have the peanut butter in the breads, and then you put the slices of bananas on there, and you put a little bit of like maple syrup, like real maple syrup on there, not that Aunt Jemima shit. Okay? I'm talking real Wisconsin maple syrup, man. That shit that was gotten from the trees and had nothing to do with processing. Although probably, I don't know if it has processed any. I don't know what dude. I'm not up to speed on what's processed and what's not, but it's really good and you should try it out. You can pour the maple in the sandwich, on the sandwich, both, however you like. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Try it out and let me know what you think in the comments. Really helps the algorithm. Not even kidding. It'll make me famous if you do that. I promise. If everyone who watches this, even if it's just 16 people, if they all comment and they all like and they all subscribe, I will be famous in 10 weeks. Promise. If I'm wrong, put a comment under the video in 10 weeks from now saying that I was wrong. See how I did that? All right, anyways. Thursday was the 3rd of July, and it was also the day that I gained the confidence I should say that I gained the courage to go shop for all of the items to make my own sandwich instead of having to go to Herbert and Gerbert's every day. So I did that, and it was the wrong day to realize that I had the courage to do that because it was so busy. And it's the reason that I don't grocery shop a lot is because it happens to be really busy whenever I do decide to get a bunch of things. All of the other times when I've went to the grocery store to get one or two things, it hasn't been busy. It's been really quick and it's been nice. And I was like, maybe I could go today, but I'm so out of the loop. I didn't realize it was July 3rd. Until I was at the store. And so it was just a lot of
anxiety.
So I think that they should have like belts with blinkers and brake lights on them. Or like put them on the carts too. Like oh dude, this is brilliant. If you take this idea and you don't credit me, I'll let you make all the money on it that you want. And then I'll wait. And I'll wait years and years and years and years. And I'll wait and wait and wait as you keep piling up that money. And when I have just not had it anymore, when I really need money, I will find a way to sue you and I will get all of that money. And it will be the easiest thing ever, because you've done all the work to make all of the money, but I had the great idea and it's just 100% the amazingness of it. So put blinkers on grocery carts, all right? No sound. They don't need sounds. Okay, just gentle blinkers. We're not talking like the flashy, anxiety-provoking ones. Make them a fun color, purple for all I fucking care, dude. But dude, have blinkers and brake light. Wear a belt with brake lights on it or something, or and have yield signs and stop signs in there. If at least for the electric wheelchairs, because those things have speed to them and have a speed limit sign as well in the grocery stores. If we had just a little bit more order in grocery stores, they'd be even better. So I think that's all I had on that topic. Oh, but speaking of like what should be on vehicles, wow, just what a segue. I really tried to work that one in there. But I saw a bumper sticker that said, "Hold on, let me overthink this." And in my head, I'm just like, oh, that's cute, but no. Just don't. Pick a direction and go. Pick a direction and go that one. Don't in fact, you wouldn't even have to think if you just practice doing that a little bit more often. It'll become automatic in your brain. But then maybe you end up in a space in life where you really hate it, and then you think, how did I end up getting here? And so you think of all of the ways that led you to here, like the butterfly effect or the domino effect or whatever the fuck that is. And then you start, and thus begins the overthinking, because you're in a spot in life where you don't want to be, and that's on a deeper note. But we don't got to go to the deep notes, do we? If we do, we pack light when we go there, don't we? Yes. Okay. I mean, no and yes. You know what I'm trying to say. So on the 4th, and having the overthinking business, I can definitely relate with. I do it a lot. Okay, I'm not saying I don't do it, but also don't put a bumper sticker on it like saying, "Hold on, let me overthink." Okay, it's funny. It's just a bumper sticker, Zach. Don't take it so literally, you autistic twat. But no, I don't know if I'm autistic yet either, because that's also really expensive to see if that's you. But I'm on the spectrum probably. My ex thought I was anyways, and she paid the money to see if she was autistic or not, when she definitely didn't need to, because she's definitely autistic. Oh man, she watches this. I hope she laughed at that. My ex watches this. So, 2 of my exes watch this actually. So, that's crazy. That's crazy. They're both probably autistic, and both have ADHD. So, Friday the 4th, we had the cops called on us, as you remember from earlier. And here's the thing, dude. I don't know how I feel about fireworks. They could be. What is the define bane of existence? Is that what I'm looking for? They could be the worst thing imaginable during the worst, if I'm in the wrong mental state. But that hasn't happened for a long time. I've been in a really good mental state a lot recently. So in the last year or so. Honestly, probably like the last 2 years, I've been in a mental state where I could probably probably just the last year. So that's irrelevant. So I got to stop saying so and so much. That's another thing. But whatever. I'm focusing on one subconscious habit at a time. All right? I'm becoming a better person. Feelings on fireworks is what I have here. Right. Yes. Good thing I have notes because I'd be forgetting all the time. I don't know how to feel about fireworks sometimes. And then when I'm with family, it's like, oh, wow, they're really cool. And I'm with family, so I feel safe. Like if shit goes wrong, if something explodes, I'm at least with family in the last moments of my life. It's kind of like that. But if I'm not with family and I'm alone, and it's more so like I'm missing out on being with family, like I'm far away from my family. So mainly when I was in Los Angeles alone and didn't have anyone to be with on firework day, then, which mind you is June through August in Los Angeles, that's firework day. So that's also a thing that's just riding on my nerves. And you don't know if they're bullets either because there's so many bullets happening in the air. So, man, they can really suck. So I totally get both sides of that topic there. So I just wanted to set that up as the preface for this story that I'm about to tell you. So we're launching fireworks out in the driveway of my grandparents' house. We live in like a suburbish. I grew up in that house, but I don't live there anymore. But they live in like a suburbish area just outside of the small city of 70,000 people or so. Like you're basically in the city, not in the farm areas, but like you're in the city, but just on the very edge. So we're lighting fireworks, and one of them has some of them have like the sticks with that you could tie little guys to or whatever with parachutes. I don't know how that worked, but those launched, and the wind was blowing this way, but somehow they went that way, and they landed in the neighbor's yard, in the trees, and by their cars, I guess, apparently. But they weren't outside hanging out or whatever. I'm sure we would have apologized if that did happen. And they would also have been aware of that happening. Anyways, one of the ladies comes over later and with one of the things. And it's during like the daytime still. And she comes over with one of the things. I thought she was going to hand it to my little cousin. But she walked by my little cousin, and I just said, thank you, like hoping that she was just bring it over to us to like return it. But she kept walking past my little cousin instead of handing it to her. And so
anxiety.
I was preparing for a battle because of which aunt was outside. Which of my aunts, as you might say it in different parts of the country. Do you say aunt or aunt? Leave it in the comments. I'm just kidding. I'm not that desperate for comments, but I mean, that might be interesting. But so my aunt was outside, and she was the only other adult outside other than me and the kids. So the lady goes walking, not to me. She should have just walked to me. Okay. But she walked to my aunt, and I was like, oh, here we go. Because no matter how this lady is going to approach us, my aunt will defend the kids and her family with her life. And that's very admirable about my aunt. She has a deep care and a deep passion and empathy for people. But when it's between other people and family, the empathy is only inside family. and that's just an observation. She definitely has, empathy for other people, but I'm just exaggerating for comedic effect. So if you're watching this, and I'm not going to say your name, just because I don't feel comfortable outing you, but I'm not outing you. I'm just sure you don't. I don't know. Let me know if you want me to use your name or not. I don't care. I will use it if you care. I was just trying to protect privacies. So if you're watching this, I understand. I'm just using it for comedic effect. Okay. So, anyways, she approaches her and she walks up very calmly and just says, "Do you know how far these went?" Like concerned, but like calm. And my aunt says something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, do you want to know where we got them because they're so cool and they can fly so high and far?" And she was being, I don't even know what's the word for that, satirically projecting the good intention of the other person. because the intention of the lady who came over was not to be like, "Where did you get those?" It was definitely, "Stop doing that." And but she did that, and she came out hot with the defense mechanism right away. And the lady was just like, "No, it's just that it's they're just going by like our cars, and you know." And my aunt was like, "Well, are you gonna call the cops on us? Like, or what are you gonna do? You're gonna..." I don't know. I don't know what she said, but my aunt was getting heated, and I was like, "Oh no, this is derailing." The lady who approached us is not that upset. She's just concerned and just wants to protect her peace. And I understand that. But I also understand my aunt's side, which is their kids, their sticks the size of a few pencils put together. And if they hit a car, it wouldn't do that much damage. And if they did, it wouldn't be that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. No one was outside even, and if they were, they would have heard it and seen it coming, or if not, I don't know. The worst thing that I could imagine happening is someone's laying on their back looking at the sky in the middle of the day, so the sun would be blinding them, and then it comes down and it hits them right in the eye and stabs their eye out. That's the worst thing that I could imagine happening, which is there's a higher chance of getting in a car accident. So I understand my aunt's side as well. So I'm not a devil's advocate, okay? I'm a fences advocate. I want both people to come together and talk peacefully and communicate peacefully and with clarity. And we don't need to have sarcasm when there lacks a clarity and a trust and an understanding and chemistry between the people talking. Okay? Because then that'll just escalate the situation, and we don't need to escalate on Firework Day. Okay? If there's any day to not escalate, it's on Fireworks Day. Because if you escalate on Fireworks Day,
Anxiety.
explosions turn into more explosions. We don't need to explode the explosions, okay? So the lady goes back, and my aunt comes out, another aunt comes out, and aunt number one tells aunt number two how how aggressive the lady was, how she stormed over, how she dude, it's crazy how much she exaggerated the energy of the other lady. She was very calm. And she said, I'm just trying to be nice. And she was. And she was nice. Oh, man. So then she told the rest of my family that story. No one asked me what I thought or what actually happened. And I was just sitting there quiet the whole time. I was not about to jump in the middle of that. And there was no need for me to. But she went back, and her daughter, I would assume, came over and as well, along with her. And they both went back, and the daughter didn't say anything either. She seemed reserved and nice or whatever. So they both went back, and they were on their phones, and most likely calling the cops, because later the cops did show up. But I feel like they wouldn't have called the cops if my aunt had just been like, okay, I'm sorry, we'll we'll try to aim them so that, I mean, I don't know what else we could have done. And it's the 4th of July too. So people are gonna shoot off fireworks. What are you doing? So I definitely get my aunt's point of view. I'm telling you, I 100% get both sides. I'm a fences advocate, dude. So she definitely called the cops on us because they showed up later. We were about to light the big ones. We hadn't even lit the big ones yet because it wasn't dark out yet, but now it was dark out. It took them so long to get there. It took them like hours to get there. And we were about to start, and they said, the cops stopped at our place and said, hey, you've gotten complaints from the neighbors or whatever. And then my family, my grandpa and my aunt go talk to the cops and just say, like, we didn't even shoot any off yet. Lies. Crazy, dude. So I was just like, and then I told some of my family later, my grandma and my grandpa and my other aunt, I was just like, hey, so the way that I just wanted to tell you my story, just because I didn't want it to make it seem like the neighbors were actually that mean. I think the way I perceived it was that they were really calm, came over and just talked with us very calmly. So I said that because I'm on the fence. I'm fences advocate. So I stay on the fence even when family is involved, because I just want to be fair for everyone and be logistical. Now, if it came to a situation where someone's going to get harmed or something, then I'm going to go and pick my family because it's family. But so yeah, I just wanted to make that clear, because I think that's something that's really ingrained into me, that'd be good to know if you ever want to be part of this friends group. If you ever want to be my friend, then it'd be good to know that I'm Johnny keeps it on the fence. Johnny sits on picket fences. Johnny likes it in the butt from picket fences. No. Do you realize how long that thought was in my head before I decided that I'm going to say it? It was for the entire pause before it, if you're wondering. So, the cops came later, and then we set off the huge ones. By we, I mean my uncle. And then the neighbor next door comes out with a flashlight, and my aunt's like, oh, God. Oh, no. And she comes out with the flashlight. And I have a ton of empathy for our neighbor next door because she's been through a lot. I won't get into it, but I know stories from, like, because they're neighbors, from me growing up, like, with them being my neighbors. But she's been through a lot. My aunt didn't. I don't think she grew up, but she knows neighbors. But I don't know, dude. Either way, I have a lot of empathy for her because of what she's been through. She lives alone now. I'll say that much. And fireworks are going off outside, and they're loud, dude. They're cannons, basically, in the air. So, it's startling. And some people are like highly sensitive to that too. And I'm sure my aunt understands that, but in the heat of the moment and when people are, you know, coming toward family, however peacefully or stormingly, then getting in the heat of that moment, you're like, I must protect family. I must protect myself. But it's crazy because the other person is feeling that same exact way. And so when you're so much like this, it's hard to be like diplomatic about it and possibly open and receptive to new ideas while also protecting yourself. That's difficult to do. That's really difficult to do sometimes. So I get it. And she's like, oh, I'm going to call the cops if you don't stop or whatever. And then my aunt's like, fine, do it. I'll take the fine. I'll pay the fine or whatever. Oh man, but we had a good time. It was fine. I just wish there wasn't so much stress. But I had a good amount of Milli Vanillis that day of my meds, of my edibles and drink. Excuse the bubbler. So yeah, that was crazy. And also, yeah, like back to the fences advocate thing. There's been times where I play devil's advocate a lot in conversations and debates and arguments with friends. I used to. I should say more now that I'm a fences advocate, because I used to just go devil's advocate, but I was like, but why do I do that? Because like, it's really annoying when I go devil's advocate a lot of the time, because it's like, of course there's going to be another side, but why am I arguing it? Because I'm not, it's not that I agree with the devil's side, so to speak, or the other side. It's more so that I realize that I really just want people to come to a place where they can be a little bit looser and not so rigid on their views, and just loosen up and be open to new ideas, because maybe I agree with them, but maybe I think that their argument could be even stronger based on new information, not based on the same information that they know that they're just pounding deeper and deeper into themselves, because that's one directional, and it's not broad enough to cover all of the different ways that argument and belief system could be proven false or bad in some way, or weak. If you show people a new way of looking at the thing that they might believe in by meeting an opposing view where it is, and getting to know that point of view peacefully and calmly, then maybe it can strengthen that belief system to be also respectful of other belief systems, and maybe even like be friendly and like find some way to connect on like a pleasant level, and maybe create something that's better. Or maybe they're very opposing, and you know, there's space there for something else to be there. And this is where I lose what I'm talking about or what I'm trying to say. But I think that's the goal of what I wanted to do whenever I've been talking about being a devil's advocate. It's more so that I wanted to find a place to connect that person with the world and me, or, you know, it's also to test kind of like the push and pull of our relationship, to see how we can communicate when things get difficult to talk about. I think I really liked to do that. Because if you can communicate with someone and be vulnerable enough to allow them to speak and articulate themselves and really listen, and you can find a place where you can talk peacefully about something, like I said, it's just, I think that's such a beautiful thing. And it's such a valuable thing. And it seems rare where people can like really talk like that about a lot of things. Even things that aren't even necessarily ridden with like full of tension. Like like it could just be about opening up about something that you're interested in. And it's just could be difficult to communicate with someone else because maybe they feel that they can't allow themselves to feel their natural selves and communicate in a safe way with someone else when they're talking about their interests. If they're not interested in it, even they can't even take the tension of them being not interested while someone else talks about something that they're interested in. They can't even take that tension into a good place and to feel like calm in a conversation with them. And it's crazy how that works. It's crazy how little tolerance we have for tension in conversations, and why that makes us rely more heavily on social media interactions to get to know people, or like internet interactions in order to get to know people better, that's so crazy. That's so weird. So anyways, that's the reason I'm a fences advocate, because it's really, I just want to get people to, I hate to use this because it's been overused, because I don't want it to lose its meaning, but to like find a place where they can create a soft but firm boundary, a respectful one, and one that's very sustainable through long periods of like lifetimes. That would be awesome. So anyways, my mom sent me a funny video. I'll play it for you here. So this is the first time I found out that she has a security camera in her backyard. Here.
Oh my God, we're heading to Brandon. And ice cream sandwich.
The sound is way ahead of the video, weirdly. But I imagine that was the sound of the chair ripping. And then she said, "Oh my God," after she fell.
Oh my God, we're heading to Brandon. And ice cream sandwich.
Oh man. That's funny. So she's got a whole bunch of creatures in her backyard. She's got like bunnies, squirrels, birds, all these kinds of things. And they're like her pets. They come up to her. Squirrels take nuts out of her fingers, out of her hands. And I'm sure the bunnies do too. She's got a little dish to feed the bunnies. She names them. There's been generations that have come by. I don't see some anymore. They're probably not around. You know what I mean? Hopefully they are. But the lifespan of like a rabbit apparently is only like 2 years in urban areas because of cars and stuff. So that's sad. And if you were to keep them in your house, apparently it's like 12 years. It's Crazy. We're shortening their lives so much. Crazy, dude. Not me, though. I've only ran over one on accident, and it was when I first got my license. I was in a hurry to get to school, and one jumped out in front of me, and I tried to slow down. I really did. And I looked in my rearview mirror after hearing a da-dum, da-dum. And its little head was bobbling like that. Like you know how if you ever play Call of Duty and one of your guys gets exploded, like from a grenade or something, his head will just like do that and it'll look like it's not even real. But it's real because the bunny's head did that, and I feel really bad about it. Hopefully I just knocked it unconscious because I didn't see blood or anything. I didn't see it like flatten out. I think it might have just got knocked out a little bit. But hopefully nothing got to it, or, you know, really hope it lived. I feel terrible about that. Anyways, she has all these creatures, but she's moving to a new place. Yeah, we're moving in. Yeah, my mom's moving into a new place. Yeah, we're moving her into a nursing home because she apparently can't sit in a chair unsupervised. That was my stand-up bit for the night. What else here? But yeah, I'm gonna miss them, but she's probably gonna miss them. They're like her other children. Sometimes I feel like she takes care of them more than she takes care of me. But I'm just kidding, Mom. I'm just kidding. My mom was there for me and still is there for me all the time. Appreciate you, Mom. So yeah, man. That's about it. That's about it for this week. Let me share with you one more thing, actually. I went into the shower the other day, yesterday, whilst coming up on some edibles. So here's a little bonus clip.
Just get in. Don't be afraid. It's just cold water.
I was singing that over and over again in the shower. And I tried to recreate that moment.
It's just cold water.
Trying to gain courage.
Just get in.
The emphasis on the second one. Hold on.
Gets colder.
Because it gets colder.
Just get in. Don't be afraid. It's just cold whistling water.
Because it started whistling. The shower head started whistling or whatever, because I don't know, because it's so cold. I don't know how that works. But oh man, I was singing that so loud, getting so high in the shower, and I actually had to focus on breathing. That's the only reason I stopped singing, because the water got so cold, and I was just imagining my neighbors hearing it downstairs, and that made me fall out laughing like immediately. Whenever I'm being silly and goofy and forget that I have neighbors, it's fun, it's awesome, it's funny, but then it's super funny when I realize that the neighbors could have been hearing it the whole time. Just imagine hearing upstairs,
Just get in. Don't be afraid. It's just cold water.
over and over again for 7 minutes probably. And to think that I actually almost thought of making a song out of that. Man. It might be the theme song for a new segment that I might introduce called Shower Thoughts, because I come up with a lot of funny shower thoughts and interesting ones. But mostly actually they're actually like music related. But I do definitely come up with like I won't get your hopes up too far. You'll see what I'm talking about. But anyways, that's it for this episode, guys. If you liked the video, if you like this content and you don't like it, and you don't tap the like button, but you like it, you're depriving yourself of future happiness and awesomeness. So because of that's the way the algorithm works. And I don't know why I can't speak, because I've had less THC today, so of course I should be able to speak better. Tried recording yesterday, couldn't, because I was just absolutely too blasted. So give it a like, give it a subscribe, put a comment in there. That's what this is for. So put friends in the comment, make friends in the comments, and put words and letters in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.